Hello, everyone. My name is JD Calderon, and this is Of Mice and
Wolves. Ow! This is the comic book workshop show where we normally go through and discuss issues that our guests are having in the comic book industry. But tonight we actually have special guests, and we're going to be asking them questions, picking their brains for you to learn some things, a little bit about getting into the industry as well as getting into the retail side of things. Without further ado, let's bring on our guests.
All right.
Mike, please.
What's happening?
Introduce yourselves. Tell the good people out there in the internet world who you are and what you do.
After you, Mark.
Oh, great. My name is Mark Florio, and I managed to partner up with some really good people. I partnered with Mike Zapcic, and that's who I am. I'm kidding. I am the creator of Bone Frog Comics, first Navy SEAL created comic book company, lifelong educator after the military, and writer and artist, and the co-creator of the Iron Golem.
Very nice.
And I'm going to take it from here. My name is Michael Zapcic, and I was on a nerdy comic book show called Comic Book Men. And I manage the world's most famous comic book store, Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash, over in Red Bank, New Jersey. And I also am the co-creator of the Iron Golem, and proudly. And Mark has been doing amazing work. And I feel like this is one of those dream projects that comes along. Somebody drops something in your lap that, you would want to, like you would kill somebody to be a part of. And that's exactly what happened. I was like, whoa, this is awesome. So yeah, Mark, if you don't mind, I'm going to actually, why don't you tell the folks out there exactly what happened, how this came to be.
Okay, but we can't talk about the guy that we killed.
The other co-creator that Mike took out.
You promised,
To be
Mike.
fair, it was more self-defense than anything else, or self-interest. I get those two confused. So
Well, if we don't see Ming at the next Comic-Con, we know who it was.
Ming has it in his will that his corpse is to be carted from Comic-Con to Comic-Con. So there you are.
Nice.
That won't stop that boy.
Yeah. So I was at a weekend 8 months out of the year, about 6 months out of the year. There is training for pre-service officers who have qualified to go to SEAL training. So I went up there, and my good friend knows that I was big on comic books. It's actually funny. I have the Punisher skull right there. So I actually got this in SEAL training, and the instructors thought I went and got a gang tattoo in Tijuana on the weekend.
I remember this conversation. You and I had a drink about this in Florida.
Yeah. So I come back. We're in first phase training, which is where 6 weeks where they try to beat you down and get rid of about 70% of the people that show up and have a dream to be a frogman. But they're like, drop down. What is that? A gang tattoo? I'm like, who ya, instructor? No, it's the Punisher. What's the Punisher? I'm like, he punishes bad guys. Like, get on your feet. And that was the end of it, but nobody really ever heard of it. And if the stories I've read, I've tried to peel back layers, are true, it actually came out of the military and possibly the SEAL teams and possibly Jocko Willink, who was my roommate in the first phase of SEAL training. So I really want to ask that question one day, the almost famous question. But I was at this weekend training session where we try to get these gentlemen ready for what they can expect. And my friend's telling one of the people there that I'm big into comics. I draw, and they're like, oh, well, you should try to come up with a character. And they threw a couple crazy ideas at me. I'm like, well, the only way that character can exist, the way you presented them in the past to today, as if they were a golem. Now, we all know they could exist 90 different ways, but that's what struck me. I thought, how could this character be from this historical past and somehow today resonate today? So I came up with this idea of this golem, but an unfinished man and an unfinished soul. So I went home, I started writing out this pitch, and I walked into the stash and I said, Mike, I got this idea. I wrote out a full plot on it too. And I said, I'd really like to know if you'd like to partner with me on this and let me know what you think. And he said, all right, but I got to be honest with you. I'm going to read it and I'm going to be brutally honest. I'm going to give you my real opinion on this. I said, that's what I want. I've never asked anybody to sugarcoat, make me feel better. It doesn't make you better, like figure out what you're doing wrong and try to improve it. I should say that I taught writing for 16 years, to kids, and never stopped drawing, but I understood how to write a plot. So I gave it to Mike. Mike talks to me. I don't know, maybe it was the next Wednesday where comics came out, but he gave me his honest opinion. And Mike said to me, and I'm paraphrasing, but he said, this is something that I would want to read. I think we have something here. And I'll let Mike take it from there.
And I'm going to preface that by saying, when I'm telling somebody that they're brutally honest, that means I like them. It's Mark, you've been a good friend, but you've also been a really good customer. So when someone, and I get this all the time, people come up and like, I have a pitch for you. And they throw it at me, and I said, "Do you want the kick in the ass or the pat on the back?" That's what we got here. And usually, it's most people want the pat on the back because their plot never goes anywhere. They take it and they sit on it, and they never do anything with it because everybody's got a story to tell, right?
Mm-hmm.
But most people don't tell it. So Mark came to me, and I said, Mark, in the thinking about this, if I want to be a part of this, I'm going to be brutally honest with you. And there was very, very few flaws in the plot. There were no holes that I could see, but there were chances for us to make it bigger. And that's the thing that really excited me, because Mark had a universe for us to play with. And the really cool thing is we actually have, Mark, how many years have we got planned out, like the next 10?
Yeah. I mean, we could seriously, we could probably have 5 years of planning in plotting and character descriptions and everything else.
Now, is that 5 to 10 years of like actually storytelling, or is this like
storytelling just of the Iron Golem, Rob, just of the Iron Golem, but there's an additional 5 or 10 years like for the ancillary characters and stuff that we haven't even brought into the universe yet.
Well, it's always good to start with, because that's something like for me, like I built my world that like kind of encased my characters to make sure that they had limits and boundaries to live within. And so that's, I think, a lot of things that people out there, when you're working on your stories and when you're scripting and plotting, having those limits and boundaries are very good things to have, just be able to, because if you're like, most cases, like when you got Superman, right? They're like, oh, well, Superman can do this, Superman can do that, whatever. It's like almost he's unlimited power until they give him those boundaries, like, with the yellow sun. If he goes away from the yellow sun, kryptonite, they actually gave him those things to kind of make it a little more interesting, or else he would just be this overpowered character that would just be boring. So that's good that you guys already had that kind of established and when you were moving forward.
And to your point, Rob, I think it's a great lesson, because Superman, he wasn't the earth mover that he is now. Mm-hmm. He could only lift a car. He could only jump, an eighth of a mile. And, these are I mean, hell, who wouldn't want those powers? I mean, I think that's, you know, that's cool as all get out. But now I think he can be like Meadowlark Lemon and spin the earth on his index finger.
Yeah, and he's as fast, if not faster, than the Flash, and all these, all these things that they've done, and they did the same thing with Wolverine too. Because like before, it was like, Wolverine, it took him longer to heal. Now he can heal from a cell, as long as it's on the adamantium, it'll grow back over it, perfectly. Like it's just like, okay, now you've kind of taken it to the point where it's like, let's dial it back here.
And it's not fun. I mean, if you make them so overpowered, it really isn't fun. And we get to, Mark and I get to watch the Iron Golem, and he never calls himself that. I think that's important to point out, that he's not like, I'm the Iron Golem. It's not that. He doesn't have a cape on. He's not would you say he's not a superhero in the most realistic sense? Or not the realistic sense, because I mean, how many
traditional
sense? Exactly. How many? I'm thinking realistic, like, oh yeah, sure. I've seen guys turn into iron all the time.
Yeah, definitely more of the supernatural. No capes, no tights, and he like Mike said, he never creates a name for himself. He is who he is, and other people, like the newspaper in 1877 in issue 2 opens up with the Wraith of the Railways, written by S. Lieber, news reporter, Stanley Lieber, but never.
I see what you did there.
Yeah. Illustration of an eyewitness account by Jay Kurtzberg, things like that. We throw a lot of nods in our series to those great characters and creators of yesteryear, right? But they're not. It's not a superhero. I wouldn't even call him a superhero. I would call him hero. People that try to right wrong and do right, and what's in their heart. So it's not about the powers. It's about a lot more than that, about loss and hurt and things like that. And the powers and everything else give us that platform.
Cool. Now, the first issue, is it an origin issue, or you just start with an adventure that he's on and then build to that? I mean, how are you going about it in this issue?
I can answer that because I couldn't help myself. I called it Origins. I grew up as a little child. I learned to read with comic strips and comic books. Before I could read, I was looking at them. My uncle got me going on there. And Origins of Marvel Comics, Sons of the Origins of Marvel Comics, and all that. I couldn't help it, but the entire 5 issues that is already nearly completely written, half drawn. The entire 5 issues is the origin story, and it takes place parallel 1877 today, and the 2 stories spiral into the one. They culminate in one, and things in the past relate to the future and where the character is going. So the whole arc is an origin, but issue 1's actually called Origins, part 1 and part 2.
And the book itself too, like when you have it by the different time periods, you have different artists for that to kind of show that, correct?
Yes, Mike and I always knew. I presented him with Ishmael Hernandez's work. Michael Schwartz, the writer and creator of Armored, came to the stash. We met him, and I just loved Ishmael's work. And I was talking to Mike about it immediately. I said, this guy would be great for 1877. I can't think of anybody else seeing the way he paints watercolors. He can pencil, ink, watercolor. He's inked over half the things that I've done and colored everything I've done up to now, that any of the covers that I've done. But he's just unbelievable and amazing talent, and actually very, very big in Spain in those circles. It's an honor to have him. So we knew we had him right from the get-go. And where is Vince Russo, everyone? But Mike and I spent the last year and a half on a search to find the right artist to depict the modern day. So we bounced a lot of ideas off us, and we ended up with Simone Pace, Italian artist, who I think captured the colors. We wanted dark in the past. We wanted darkness based on what's going on with our characters, and we wanted light in the present day, this bright, optimistic color palette. So we talked about those color palettes as part of our story, and we found the right guy.
Yeah, what he said.
So they're two separate artists. You have one representing, I guess, modern time, and one. That's cool. And they both walked into the store. You had one of them walk into the store.
Well, both of them are European. The writer for Armored, that was
Armored, okay.
Yeah.
Ishmael Hernandez is the award-nominated artist on Armored, and I talked to Mike about using him in between issues, and here he is working on issue 6, standalone issue, on a script partially written by Mike Schwartz. Collaboration there, bringing them back together.
Now that brings up a good point and question, I think, for our audience to kind of like hear your thoughts on that. Like, so obviously, like Mark, you being first being a fan, and then an artist and writer, and then coming into the stash as a customer. So you were a regular, I'm assuming. Obviously, Mike said that you're a good customer. So, like, having the confidence to reach out to somebody who already has like a name for themselves, like whether it's Mike being already has TV fame, and also or in Hernandez being a well-known artist, like what's kind of like something that kind of got you able to like go out and reach out to them and say, hey, I think I really have something here. Like, what boosts your confidence that? Because there's a lot of people out there, especially creators, are very introverted and very afraid to like approach anybody, let alone somebody of like, a little bit of stature, like, so what was that kind of like for you to be able to like psych yourself up for that?
Okay. Just being an extroverted sort of person. It's not hard for me to talk to people, although I do feel awkward at times, like, oh, these people are going to think I'm an idiot, or what's he really want?
But how do you get around that feeling? Because a lot of us feel that way.
I think that touches base with, you often hear just the worst thing somebody can say is no, right? But it's still hard to build up that confidence. My stepson went 2 years ago, a little more. I kind of angled him towards going into the Army Reserves after pandemic. High school shut down, and graduates a year, after they finally got to come back in. He didn't have a really strong motivation on what he wanted to do. He went to college for a year, wasn't really enjoying it. And he came down to a SEAL reunion with my wife and I, and loved it, loved the camaraderie. So I kind of angle him into go reserve. It's safe. You can go to school. It'll teach you discipline. So he goes through training, comes out of training, goes through all his advanced level courses to do what his job is in the Army, because he scored really well. And sure enough, he gets deployed to Syria for 6 months. Right. So I'm when I went in, I could care less. Forget the body. It really didn't matter. When you're young, you don't care. But when your child's in the military, you think about, oh my God, what did I do? So I was sitting up. It was the night before the Garden State Comic Fest. And I did this. I was going to go to a comic show, and he likes comics too. So I did this Deadpool coming out of the water in an homage to Wolverine coming out of the water in John Byrne's famous run, where he said, okay, suckers, you took your best shot. Now it's my turn. So I literally looked at John Byrne's drawing. I did Deadpool coming out of the water, and I brought it around the comic show. I did it on an anime style comic board, not the 11 by 17. Mm-hmm. And I walked around the show, and I asked every creator, Walt Simonson, you name it, everybody was there, and they always have a big big group of talent that show up, and everybody signed it. There's probably 50, 60 signatures on there. And while I was going around, people were going, "Who did that work? That's really good." I said, "That's me, but can you sign this? Can you sign it?" And they did. Everybody signed it. Not a single person charged me. And that was great. It's his. It was a gift. But I thought to myself, I've always wanted to do this. People like what I did. Why don't I take a shot? And from there, it was like 2 months later when that idea, somebody threw a pitch, asked me to pitch something. And I walked in. Mike, I had known for years before that. And everybody's rub on Mike is that Mike's a great guy. Anybody that meets him or you talk to, I'll do anything for Mike Zapcic. He's a great guy. So I already knew that because they brought me in when they were switching the store over, and I got to see them building the new one and stuff. So it was always kind to me. I never took advantage of that. And it was just laid back. And I walked in and I just asked him. I knew through my developed relationship with him that he would give me honest feedback.
Nice.
Yeah. From there,
Mike
Mike
didn't lose a customer, which is even more important.
Yeah.
No.
He wouldn't have.
What?
From there, Mike sent me on a path to meet different people at New York Comic Con and beyond. And from there, I developed relationships.
So just basically going around and getting that confidence from your art that they were telling you how good it was is something that like helped boost your confidence, which is great. Like that's something I think a lot of people don't think about is, when you're going around and, show what your strength is, right? The worst, like you said, the worst case they could say is no, or it's a learning, especially if they give you some constructive criticism, don't take that as you're doing bad. Learn from that. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Michael, I was wondering, like, since you work in the shop and you've done the show, how many, all right, so obviously Mark came to you, gave you this pitch. How many times a year do you get this sort of thing happening to you? Because I can imagine it happens more often than not. So, I'm just really curious.
It happens a lot. People, a lot of people want to get their comics into the secret stash and I have limited space. Mm-hmm. And, back in the old store, we used to have it was just a box of independent creators and you would have to, keep up with your stuff. Mm-hmm. And nowadays, unfortunately, I don't have the room to do that. And to be honest with you, it kind of makes it less special to have your book in the stash if, it looks like it was printed at Kinko's. Right. Not for nothing, no slag against Kinko's, but I mean, if it looks like something that somebody put through a Xerox machine, and I get it, I know how expensive it is to print comics, but it should be comic store worthy, Mark came to me. Mark wanted my help in like making a comic that he and I would read. We lifelong comic book nerd. I mean, I've been reading comic books since, when we called them cave paintings. That's, that's how far back I go. But if it's not something that I would want to read, I didn't want Mark and I to put it out there. And I think if you're not second guessing yourself, you're doing something wrong. Mm-hmm. I feel like the opposite of the Dunning-Kruger effect, with those people who have very limited knowledge about what they're doing, but they go in with like full confidence.
Yes.
And I look at those people, I'm like, God bless you, because you will not go far in this life, but damn, you're going to be amusing to watch. But me, when we do something like our first issue is, it's pretty damn straightforward. It's got a lot of nods. It's got so many Easter eggs, and just stuff that we loved to see back in the day. And Mark and I are talking about after our first 5 issues, we're going to put out an 80-page giant, which I just love the idea of an 80 page giant, you know, having like 10 8-page stories in there, or 8 10-page stories, you know, however we feel like mixing it up.
That's cool. So, I mean, when it comes down to this character, I mean, obviously you have various stories already worked out. Like you got the first 5 issues worked out. You know, these arcs, are you looking at 5-issue arcs, 4-issue arcs? Are you know, like compress? Are you guys just going for it? You're like, screw it. If it's 15-issue arc, is it 15-issue arc? Like what are your guidelines as creators? Because I mean, you know, as an independent publisher myself, you know, I try to keep within a type of structure, right? Usually 4 to 5 issues, maybe 6, and you know, trade, and then you know, you move on to the next one. What are you guys looking at?
I personally like the idea of 4 to 5 issue arcs. I don't want to end the Iron Golem at issue 5. Well, we're already 6 is not the same arc. It actually launches. It's an in between, but I don't want to end it. I'd like the number to keep going up, but to have those arcs. And after the 5 issues, the 2 stories split. The past 1877, it's not just resting in that time frame. That's where the story starts. But for reasons that we really can't, we don't want to ruin anything right now. It's actually going to be called the Book of Chew, the Iron Golem Book of Chew, and that plays into what happens. That will become its own series. Well, the Iron Golem that is in Kickstarter right now will continue with the numbering, and we have other stories and plot lines already. Will Robson already turned in a script. Him and his brother Alex Robson turned in a script for another character that will start and take place after that 6th issue. Okay. We're going to go with arcs on those. Most likely the other ones will be a couple issue series, just limited, all tied into our world. But Mike can actually talk more about the world we're creating and the parameters. Other people have the opportunity to play in that sandbox, and I'll let Mike talk about that as well.
That's something Mark and I had, you know, thought about when we created this universe. You know, what are we going to do? How are we going to be, you know, different from everybody else? And it's come and play, come hang out in our universe and make it better. You know, certainly you can kill many people in our universe, but, you know, don't kill them all. You know, leave something for somebody else. And I have stuff that I was working on back, good Lord, 10 years ago that fit perfectly in our space here. And it's really cool and I had told Mark, I said, guess what? You know, such and such is going to be joining our universe. And he's like, who the hell's that? And I explained it to him. He's like, damn, that's cool. And it is. It's one of those things where we can do so much and, you know, invite people to come along for the ride.
Very nice. Cool. So going back to like what you were saying about like with indie creators having a book that looked professional and is retail space worthy, what other advice would you give an indie creator to get into the stash besides like obviously finding somebody and getting in like through Lunar, kind of like how most people kind of have to do it now, like getting into the previews with Diamond's kind of implosion, that's made it a lot harder for the indies to kind of get in there. So like what's your best advice that you would give an indie creator out there who still wants to kind of get into that, but like can't right now get in through like Lunar because of, you know, the stipulations these days?
Right. You could go the Kickstarter route, which is, you know, obviously what Mark and I did. Self-publishing is, I know a lot of guys who, you know, they sell out of the trunk of their cars. Going to small going to small comic book shows. I mean, that's a perfect way to do it. Set up next to a guy who's, selling his grandfather's golden age comic book collection, and just start, making contacts with other comic book shops. And it's comic books. We judge books by their cover. We just do. We have to, because this isn't the 70s and 80s anymore, where comics are like 30, 35 cents. Comics are $5 a pop, and you got to make it worth people's while to buy it.
Mm.
And like I said, if it looks slick, I mean, if it looks slick and it reads well, I mean, it's a shoo-in. I want those in the stash. But not everybody has the ability to print their comics that way, and I get that. But like I said, if you want to, I need for your comic book, if you're bringing it to me, it's got to be something special. So make it special.
I mean, and I think that's like a lot of us, like we think our babies are the best, right? Which, I think that's kind of like how it is with every creator. Some people don't like to hear, like you said, they want the pat on the back, right? But I think like if a lot of creators were a little bit more open to that constructive criticism, or even goes into it thinking this is what's hitting the shelves regularly. Why is that hitting? One, like you said, because of the covers typically is the first thing they say. But you also don't want to have this great cover and then somebody pick up the book and the inside look like garbage, right? You want to have the layouts be well, the lettering, everything makes a book.
So true. Can I go back in time? I used to love to read The Invaders. I mean, that was a 1970s Marvel book, and it was a period piece.
Mm-hmm.
It was World War II, and you had Captain America, the Human Torch, and the Submariner as a super team, and they're fighting Nazis and Nazi super villains. And the one thing that they never really thought about was, aren't they, Nazis are bad guys, no doubt about it.
Right.
But in their eyes, in their minds, the Nazis they're like, we're in the right here.
Mm-hmm.
And they're Master Man and Warrior Woman. They're our superheroes. So it's like, damn, if you look at it that way, they shouldn't be losing as often as they are. They always got their asses whooped. But to your point, they had great Kirby covers. Fantastic. You're looking at the covers. You're like, oh my God, Jack Kirby. If he did the art in here, I am in for such a treat. And you opened it up and it was Frank Robbins. Frank Robbins never gave anybody pupils. And Frank Robbins had everybody had weird, when they ran, they had like too many joints. Like, it's like, I think that guy's got like 4 knees. That ain't right. So, I mean, it ruined it ruined the flow for me, even though it was Roy Thomas writing these great stories, but you're like, oh man, Frank Robbins is really taking me out of the story. And then they brought in Alan Cooperberg, but it was way too late.
Yeah.
I mean, Frank Robbins had already tanked the whole thing.
I think that also brings up another point, is that like you could have a great story, but if the art detracts from it, it takes you out of the story, right? And vice versa. Like you could have the best art ever. You could have Jim Lee, making one of the, the best books he's ever done. But if the story's garbage, who wants to come back and, just because you can't like open those up and put them on a wall, right? So at that point, it's like your run is just okay.
Yes, that's why. And this is why I love Mark and my dynamic is we're like co-plotting this. And if I say something that is totally ridiculous and going to come out stupid on the page, Mark's going to tell me. Mark's going to be like, we can't do that. No way. No, we can't do that. So, and then we talk it out and we figure out a workaround. So I get my way. No.
That's how that works. Nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're absolutely right. Because if you're going to do that, you might as well just collect posters instead of comic books.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the one thing, like there's always this debate going around Facebook and all the comic indie community groups about like, people like say, oh, the writer and the cover artist and the artist are the most important, and everybody forgets about the letterer and this and that. Yeah. And to an extent, like I kind of see that a little bit, but a book is the entire team. You can't have a good book without the entire team, because if your lettering's bad, it doesn't matter how good the story is. It doesn't matter how good the art is. If your lettering is bad, the whole thing just falls apart.
It'll ruin the whole book.
Exactly. So for you letterers out there, and I'm one of you, you are important. Don't let anybody else ever think about tell you otherwise, and don't think that yourself. You are amazing.
It's a collaborative effort. That's absolutely true. And you know what? Don't let me slagging on poor Frank Robbins. May God rest his soul. And art is so subjective. There were people who I'm sure loved Frank Robbins's work, and otherwise he wouldn't have been in the business. I mean, and wouldn't have gotten to do Batman, for goodness sakes. So, I mean, I was just one of those guys who, it's like the cilantro thing, right? Some people think it tastes like soap. Other people love cilantro.
Yeah, that's my wife loves cilantro. I hate it.
Frank Robbins is, he tastes like soap.
Nice.
There you go. That's the name of the episode.
There you go. It tastes like soap. What oh, I love that. You may use that, boys. It's all yours.
Cool.
It's all yours.
So, Rob, what I want to add to with that is the artist, writer, one overpowers the other. You would probably want the art to elevate really good writing. But if the art's up here and the writing's pretty close, you probably got a hit.
I mean, you definitely want to be able to have, like, you want the story then, like, to be told, like, especially if it's like one of those pieces where like there's not a lot of dialogue, but there's a lot of action. But if you're you have to like show the emotion, right? Like in cases like that. So yes, the art has to like pick that up and be really good, or else the whole thing falls apart. So yeah.
I would think like Martian Manhunter, which just ended its run, issue 13, I think. Dennis Camp, excellent writer on that series, and the art just Javier Rodriguez just elevates it. Just perfect pairing of really good art and really good writing, and it delivers the whole project. Their whole project, just eyeballs everywhere and appreciation for the story and the art. In terms of the writing, you could sell a lot of books based on that cover. You could get all the best artists out there. They're going to push X amount, but you're probably not going to last that long. It's the series is probably not going to last that long. If you're in it for the fast money, you can do what a lot of not safe for work
in comics
people do.
Money? Oh my!
There's money in comics.
Wow,
yeah, really?
Yeah, but it's not going to last, right? It won't be lasting. You're not building anything. You want people to come back. The cover's going to draw them in, but you want them to come back for that story because it's compelling and the art is pleasing. Those are, I think, two most important things.
And you want to feel the love. You really do. You want to feel that. You know what? When creators are passionate about their projects, you can't help but get sucked in. It's just one of those universals. If a story's good, it doesn't even have to be. I mean, look at Hemingway. Hemingway was sparse. I mean, the man used in The Old Man and the Sea. I think he used like 230 words, total in different, variations, but he only used 230 vocabulary words. So it's like, oh my God, just I don't know if that was like something that he thought about doing, or he gave himself a limit. I can only use this many, and if I go over, I'm going to drink myself to death.
Man, if he had to do a haiku, I don't know what would happen.
Oh dear Lord!
All right, gentlemen, I'm gonna pull up your campaign so we'll all take a look at what we've been talking about. So there we go. Do you guys want me to play this video?
If you do, I'm just gonna go to the bathroom. So.
Is it like 10 minutes long? How long is it?
No, it's short. It's actually funny.
It is really short, but go to town. Go to town.
We should have done outtakes, him and I.
Hi, everybody. My name is Michael Zapcic. I'm from AMC's Comic Book Men and the manager of Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash. And I'd like to introduce you to a friend of mine, Mark Florio. He's the writer and co-creator of The Iron Golem.
Yeah, and we'd like to tell you all about our new series on Kickstarter and introduce you to this amazing world. This story is born from an act of violence set in the past, where a man seeks a path of righteous vengeance. An unfinished man and an unfinished soul is born.
What Mark and I have created is a generational saga, passed down through 3 different generations and the lineage of one family, where it's not just about blood, it's not just about savagery, and it's not just about vengeance. It's also about hope and the continuation of familial lines. So you might be asking, why are Mark and I bringing this to Kickstarter? Well, let me tell you a little something. Comic books are expensive to produce, and all of your contributions go back into making more pages for you to read. And we would love for you to be a part. All of your contributions would be going back into the comic books.
Not only are you giving contributions, you're getting rewards. This is not a donation. With those rewards, you will find exclusive books only found on Kickstarter. We have tons of things that you can look at, only available exclusively to this campaign. And if you can't contribute, sharing this project on social media to your friends, to your family, you can take a flyer and stick it on the nearest store that you know, get everyone involved. That will be greatly appreciated for us. We need your support, and we're looking forward to it.
Help us spread the gospel of the Iron Golem.
And join the Iron Legion.
You can definitely tell that Mark is Italian like me, because with his arms are going the same.
Well, you gotta talk. He's a passionate man. You gotta talk about that.
Hey.
Which is really funny, because golems are traditionally Jewish, not Italian.
Mm-hmm.
I'm married to an Italian, so I get to call them an Italian.
Oh, that's all right. I'm married to a Jew, so.
Well, we're good. We've got all our bases covered, Rob.
We're all good.
Nice. So during the process of when you're doing this, are you going full script? Or are you doing Marvel style? What type of process are you guys using?
Well, absolutely. I went full script on it. Direction, because I minored in art in college, I have my beliefs and thoughts in the story. However, when we first started writing it, we didn't know who we'd have working on it. I did want Ishmael Hernandez on there, and once he came aboard, I started writing for Ishmael's strengths. But I wrote full scripts on there. Issue 5, Ishmael, I gave to Ishmael as almost a hybrid of a Marvel style script and a partially completed script. And Ishmael actually collaborated with us on finishing that script, because he had some amazing ideas he wanted to add into it.
And that's amazing when the artist gets vested in the the actual project, right? It's hard, when they're just in it for the paycheck, but when they actually feel it and love it, you can see it in the art and how it comes back and makes everything look great.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I still write traditional scripts. I just turned in a script for an Orange Cone little project going on, and I gave it to the artist with a full script, but I knowing the artist's style, I actually encouraged him to let me know what you think, any different directions you want to see on that. Let's do it. I have no problem with it. We'll make it work. He was on board with the whole overall plot to begin with. So I have no problem, no humility in taking their suggestions and making a story better, right? The script is a love letter to the artist to tell the story we want to tell.
Very nice. And then I saw some scenes in there where guys were looking at layouts, like thumbnails. How did that work out for you? Did your artist thumbnail those out, or did you guys thumbnails to the thumbnails, or did your artist do those?
Well, Ishmael he thumbnails everything out. He just turned in to Mike and I the issue 6 thumbnails a day or 2 days ago, Mike. And asked me to take a look and make sure everything was on the right track for it. So Ishmael does thumbnails for everything. He'll thumbnail it, and he does traditional. His thumbnails are, I believe, digital. And then once he does that, he goes right down to the Bristol board and pencils, inks, and then colors it.
He's amazing. He's never done anything that is less than knocking it out of the park.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Do you know if he's light boxing off of his thumbnails, like blowing them up? So it's a trick that some of the older artists use.
Yeah, I'm actually, if you could see my laptop, I elevated. I got a light box below it. So I don't know with Ishmael. I would imagine he light boxed it because he's taken art that I've given him and that I've drawn, and it seems like he's light boxing it with that.
Gotcha.
So.
No, that's really cool. And then, so Rob was talking about lettering earlier. With your letterer, like, how many passes are you doing on that? Like, how many times are you like feeding that one around the room? Because, I've seen, people go through 10, 15 passes and you still find a typo. You know what I mean? So, how's that going for you guys? Like, what type of process are you putting yourself through?
Well, Mike and I just actually got the final lettering pass. I think that's our third final lettering pass. And I, you don't notice, you look at it, and Metal Ninja Studios is producing the book with us. And I go through it, but the problem is, why you need an editor, you need a different pair of eyes on it to catch the things. If you've seen the same thing over and over, but then I go through it and I go, ooh, that looks bigger and bolder than it did before. The lettering seems to fit the panel a little better. So there's great value in it. I would say they're probably on third or fourth official lettering pass. We developed it early for the ash can to have part of the ash can done so we could present it at Philly. So they've been chipping away at it, and the book's completely done, and we're in the final lettering pass right now.
And I honestly give it to my wife to look over because she does pretty much everything else in my life. So, but she also was a professional writer, so she looks at copy the way that prospectors look at a gold pan, shaking it. There we go, we got one. So yeah, she'll spot them like from a mile out.
Nice. No, that's excellent. Yeah, that's a huge resource.
She's been a great asset. Great asset from our side of the fence. Julia Zapcic, she's been amazing for us.
Oh, our biggest cheerleader. So yeah.
That's good. Excellent. Rob, you got anything?
Specifically about the campaign, or just any more questions?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, you can ask us that. Come on.
Well, no, I mean, I know more about the campaign because I work with the fellows putting the page together. So I don't want to talk too much about it specifically. That's for them to do.
Right.
But I think for our audience sake, maybe ask a little bit more, along the production lines or something like that.
Well, Rob, actually, I got a question for you.
Sure.
So, since you put the campaign together and that sort of thing, right? So, I mean, how did you go through that process of working with the creators? What were your page choices, cover choices? Like what decisions did you need to make, or and also need to negotiate and ask for? Like how easy or difficult was that process?
So Joel Rodriguez, who is the CEO / owner of Metal Ninja Studios, when I started kind of working with him to run Kickstarters for his clients, he and I kind of started the process of trying to figure out, okay, well, we usually do things on the fly as creators ourselves, right? So we're like, what are these pieces that we put together? How do we best lay that out for somebody who's never done a campaign or doesn't understand how the campaigns work? So kind of we give them action points of what like we need to start with. Basically you say, hey, we need X, Y, and Z because these are the puzzle pieces that we need to put things together. And then we also kind of go through the process of like choosing cover artists. Mark and I actually, we'd spent some time together in Florida for during MegaCon. He and I talked about cover artists and about who to use, who best to use, who best not to use, walking artist alley, trying to find, great artists, trying to make some connections with them. And then, as well as like, Mark knows Gerald very well. And, Joseph Schmolke also has a working relationship with the studio. So like those were like no brainers. And then obviously with Mark having a relationship with Will Robson and, then the two artists on the book, it was kind of like no brainers once those were all picked out and who to use. But then we also kind of had to, okay, once these covers were done, we had to go through the process of picking, okay, well, which one is the high reward, which one's the, limited editions, this and that. So I basically, after we had our initial meeting with Mike and Mark, say, hey, I need your bios. I need your why this project is important for you. I need, kind of like, an idea of like what kind of rewards you want to give. I started with a list of rewards and vendors that I've worked with and that Joel's worked with and kind of put them together and say, hey, these are suggestions. This is kind of like a base, beginner, middle, and advanced kind of setup. What do you prefer? And then we also kind of talked through, Mike and I had a conversation, Mark and I had a conversation about whether we should do the ladder, which is basically each limited edition goes up in price, or if they go into buckets, which is I think what we chose here, going into the buckets where you have like, okay, one covers the standard retail. That's going to be the mass produced one that goes out to stores, as well as like, then you have like the middle bucket, which is like, they're limited, but they're not like the, be all end all limited tiers, which ends up, that's another bucket is then you have like the even more limited edition. So just kind of deciding how like the project is laid out is something, a process. Cause like I make the rewards and spreadsheets. Mark sent his thoughts over about like pricing. And then I kind of gave my little pushback saying, maybe tweak it this much just because it's, with a 28 page book, it's going to be a little bit more than what an average 24 page comic would be. As well as you want to make sure that like you're filling the tiers out and kind of building them up as you go. And, and then I suggested doing a mystery box and, mystery CGCs and stuff like that, like different things to kind of make it, and obviously we have to have a retail tier out there for the retailers because we want to support them as well. We don't want to make them feel like that they're an afterthought. So just kind of going through the list of, the experiences that Joel and I have with our own campaigns, as well as like Joel had worked with other clients prior to. So just kind of going between and saying XYZ, we need this, we suggest this, boom, we have a page.
Very nice. Very nice. I like it. Cool. And I don't know if you gentlemen have realized, but Rob likes his spreadsheets.
Don't we all?
I'm just saying. I was like, spoken to him quite a bit, and he always mentions these damn spreadsheets.
Well, I mentioned Trello more than that.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true. Don't mind me.
There's a lot to consider. You're new to Kickstarters. I've been supporting Kickstarters. I'm a super backer on there. And Mike's been supporting Kickstarters for quite a while as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew enough to understand how these things are built out, but to do it and just to understand all the different aspects that go into it, like what Rob was just saying, bucket listing, bucket pricing. You want to have your work out there for people, and you don't want to insult them either. Hey Fred, you don't want to miss people being able to get your book because you're trying to go shoot for the moon. You want people to have access to it at whatever level they can afford. Like our very intentional video said, even if you can't buy something, share it with people. Get the word out for us. And believe me, Mike and I will be very appreciative of that, and we'll show our appreciation any way we can. But
I will not sing. I'm telling you, I'm not singing again. So,
yeah.
done.
But I think people need to something that's very important about this. They need to research how to do these things. There's a lot of gatekeepers out there that don't like to share information. Metal Ninja Studios, and I don't mind talking about. I work with them and I work for them. However, there's a reason why I work with them, because they don't miss anything. The whole concept to the comic, and now there's IP incubation where they're going to look after it. They're going to show you. And for me, I related to, for me, it's mentoring. I'm being mentored because I want to be part of this community. I've had the opportunity to cover for Stake #7, David Byrne. I've done a few other things, pinups and books and things like that, and things that haven't come out yet. But I want to work and do work in this industry. So they've been great mentors for me, and so much so that I could help someone. There are a couple good books out there. I know Matt Garvey actually has a great book on how to run a Kickstarter and how to make a comic book. If you're new to that, I would actually absolutely recommend reading that, because it gives you an understanding of what you don't know and sets you on a path about how to go learn it. You're not going to read the book and know everything, but he's basically telling you the lessons that he had to learn, and you have direction on. I knew when they came to the shop to do a signing, David and Joel, I knew what they did, and Mike and I pitched them on what we wanted, and here we are today. We are running a successful campaign in under a week, under 12 hours, and I believe it has a lot to do with working with the right people to get you there. And absolutely, it's and getting our concept out there. So
cool. So right now, this is the first issue. Are you guys doing this in conjunction with releasing it in shops, or are you doing like Kickstarters first and then maybe releasing in shops a year later? Like, what's that game plan looking like?
If there's any publishers listening,
we're going to see how people like it first, and then I think that we will be shopping it around.
I think most publishers want a finished story arc before they kind of pull you in. So I think a good way to do it would be, yes, kind of get it out there, blow it up as much as you can, and then once you get that first story arc in the books and you have that first graphic novel trade, then I think that's a good time to kind of approach it. And that's the same thing that I did with Source Point Press with Nightwolf and Snowpaw. Was I made sure that I got to a point where I was able to put out a trade first, then go to them, because they want that, so that they have something that they can put out a little more regularly.
They want to know that you're going to get across the finish line with the story.
Yeah.
That's our intention too. Where the second issue starts immediately when this one ends. It's already half drawn by Ishmael. Then David Byrne will go through script polishing with me. He is working with me as a mentor. Mike and I, our plot is nearly completely done. All of Ishmael's stories done, and I'll be turning that script in. I'll give it to Mike first. Suggestions, anything.
I have more work. Oh,
Yeah.
You didn't tell me about that.
And then it goes to David. We go right into it. We're not hesitating.
Well, just think about it too, gentlemen. After this one's done and that second issue's done, you basically have the template now for your campaigns. And the reason why Joel dubbed me campaign and community manager is because this is basically you building your community, and the next one will build more. It will keep building off of that. So what we do, that's why we call this, building a community by running crowdfunding. That's what we want to do. What we're giving for you guys to be able to do. So this is going to be an easier step next time. It'll be boom, ba-boom, 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 and you can keep going, every issue you guys put out. And the faster you do it, the faster we'll, put out.
I love that. That's fantastic. And Rob, you know what? Before we do anything, Mark and I have huge thank you for you. So that's you have our eternal gratitude.
You're very welcome. I'm very happy that it's been going as well as it is. It's a great story, great book, great art, and I'm very happy to have a little part of it.
Bigger than you think, my friend.
Yeah. You're the guy getting eyeballs on it, Rob. So thank you.
Yeah. Rob's the man. Gentlemen, we made it to the hour mark. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you guys coming on. You guys are great. Before we go, is there anything we didn't ask you that you wanted to talk about?
So much, JD, but we're at the end of the hour.
Starting the comic.
About comics? Now,
we're not talking existential crisis here.
I got to slam Frank Robbins, for God's sakes. That's a win in my book every time.
There you go. Every single time he says, "We got that guy."
That's going to be my running joke from now on. It's just like, have I told you about Frank Robbins?
JD, it's been a pleasure, and I really appreciate coming on with Mike. And you guys are great, and you definitely workshopping through problems and things like that. I had one question earlier on before we actually went on about how maybe people out in the chat too, but how do you get through those doldrums after your first week where now you're going to worry about everything every day? And David Byrne told me don't look in the first 4 hours, but failed to tell me that Mike and I would get alerts on our phones. So
You gotta turn those off, yeah.
yeah. So,
Congratulations, you're funded in the first hour. It's like, oh my God, that's not didn't happen. But
well, first 12 hours anyway.
yeah.
I'm a perfectionist, Rob. What can I say?
What can we expect?
Yeah, so this is the point where we call the dead zone. So it doesn't matter how well you're doing, we still call it that, right?
Yeah.
So you guys, you're going to get people trickling in. You're not going to get that first day boost, that last day boost. This is all on us, the foot team. Get the people out there on the streets yelling at the top of the roofs, or we could do like JD and do nothing. No, but I joke because JD he has a Sunday show every week, and he does this with me every other, and he's constantly talking about projects, and he throws his in just a little bit, but he doesn't. He short of emails, he's like, I'm too busy working on my book to really market it.
Yeah.
But go ahead. What were you gonna say?
No, just that. Yeah, I prefer the work. I prefer doing the work.
Don't we all though?
yeah. But it's just like, I'm like, if I put in 10 hours a week in marketing, I'm like, that's 10 hours a week. I could have been lettering. I could have been, doing all that stuff, writing, editing.
Very valid. And that's why this dude has so many, like he's actually got so many issues in the hopper, way more than you guys. Like he's got so much art done, everything. He could just keep launching week after week if he wanted to, because he just focuses on getting the work done. Whereas me, I'm the opposite. I'm like, all right, I got a project. I'm going to market it. I'm going to beat it to death. And then I'm like, oh crap, I got to write something. Hold on.
That's it. It's the self-promotion that's the toughest thing for me especially. I mean, it's like pat myself on the back. No, we're not gonna. No, it seems self-serving, but yeah, it's self-serving because you want to sell it. So
yeah, I mean, all right, think about it this way, and I've told everybody this that has similar marketing things. Coca-Cola will blow up your TV, your whatever ads that like how often do you see a Coke ad? Right now, you don't even pay attention to it, but they're everywhere, and we know what Coke is. We know what it tastes like. We know they're there. They're in the grocery store. We know that. But you know what? They still blow up that marketing bill. So basically, it's all about getting the name out there, the brand, keeping that awareness, because sometimes somebody's going to see something, but it's not till the 100th time that they see it or heard about it that it kind of resonates. And they're like, oh yeah, I did want to check that out. And then even sometimes after the campaign, they still miss it. And then they're like, crap, I got to wait for the next issue.
Yeah. So they have late pledges.
That's true.
But I mean, what's funny is, Rob and I, we've gone over this tons of times. I mean, that center section of the campaign, right? There are a few things you can do. I mean, some people will have like hidden pledges that they'll announce in the middle of a campaign, right? Like, so, I got this special gold foil thing, and they'll put that out in the middle. And they say it's only going to be available for 3 days in the middle of the campaign. So that sometimes will generate stuff. And people do various things like that.
I do a full moon. Like my campaigns are always revolving around the moon, because I want, in the middle of the campaign, I want a full moon print that I give my wolf pack as a freebie, as long as they pack by the X date that the moon is that time. Different things like that. There's different tricks, and we can talk more about that too. Like anything you guys might have that you want to pull out of the hat, we can do. What's nice too is that with the bonus rewards that we have set up with the milestones and the stretch goals, is that gives us two different measurements, if you will. Once like a milestone is hit, or once a stretch goal is hit, that gives us something to talk about and to promote as well. Kind of like with the metal covers and the foil covers, and coming out. And you had that 4th of July 250th anniversary piece that you did, for that one, and that I felt did very well as well. So it's just, that's where like the middle is the sweet kind of like area that that's where you really gotta just keep going, and keep, even if it's something you've already posted, if it was like a week ago, repost that.
Gone. Yeah. We're working on cross promotional ideas. I actually, my artist Ishmael, not feeling well, he's under the weather. While working on our issue, I pitched him on a cross promo for another great series and a creator that I absolutely love, and I'm not allowed to. So Ishmael's not doing well. So
is that Stephen Prince's?
I don't know.
I think I see a matador.
So I did it blue line. I sent it, and I'm gonna pencil. I don't know if I'll ink it or somebody's gonna be coloring it. But yeah. So I just my artist needs a couple days to recover. I just rolled up the sleeves and said, looks like what did Thanos say? I guess I got to do it myself.
Look, you're gonna have something done right?
Yeah.
You don't want my art, trust me. No.
So so we're working. We're talking to people. We're trying to reach out and support other people right now, and because it's a big community, I didn't get here without the community, or given like certain people that got us here, like the proper due. I would have to say like Rob, Joel, David Byrne, like Travis Gibb. these guys have all played a big part in Mike and I getting here today, and Mike's acquaintances along the way. We have a big surprise coming towards the end of the campaign. So, you know,
Yes,
we've
that's not something we can
things,
talk about right now.
so, you know,
Done.
yeah. So we're living in that community zone right now, and we don't want to do anything wrong, and we just want to try to keep building what we have, what we're excited about, without overdoing it. But I guess what you're saying is you really can't overdo it.
No.
Oh,
You can underdo it, but you can't overdo it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Like, and that's why, like, you know, we work with people like Nita Lanning to, you know, to spread out to her audience, my audience. You know, we're out here talking on here. Get on as many shows in this in between stage as you can. Like, you know, I'm sure JD probably wouldn't mind having you guys on if he has some openings on one of his Sunday shows.
Mhm.
Again, that's just find the shows that are out there and get on them. Like that's something that like helps because it, you know, brings out the book. You can talk about it. And it's something that I tell a lot of people, going to a Comic-Con, you sell books very well if you're able to talk about your book. And Mike, you said it best that like if you can feel the passion, you're sold that book, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of the same thing is like when you're getting in front of people in a Comic-Con, you're giving your passion to them and they're like, I want this, right? Getting on these shows is another way to do that. Talk about what you're passionate about. And, you know, if they don't catch it on the live, they'll see it on the replay. But, you know, that's just another way of doing it.
yeah, I'm going to be dusting off live from the Secret Stash. We're going to be doing a special edition. So, yeah, it's going to be fun.
Nice. Very nice.
And Mark and I are also going to do it helps to be a manager of a comic shop. We're going to be doing a signing on the 19th. It's the 19th of July. Let me just double check that. Make sure
You got the art for that, right, Mark? That I sent that over. From,
Yes, I did. Thank you.
The 18th. I don't want people showing up on the 19th being like, "What?
Where are they?
Who are these?
Are they closing early?
Uh,
Yeah, I did. That art's really cool. I don't. The campaign's going to see it in a different way. We've already released one of them, but we're going to have them as prints, and I appreciate that because they'll look cool. And we may have the colorist Nick Capone joining us.
Nice.
Well,
yeah. Nick's good
work
people,
with
and he
Nick.
has good books himself.
yeah, Nick's a good dude.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's going to be fun."
All right, cool. So gentlemen, like I said, we made it to the end of the show. Thank you so much for being here. Let's start with Mark. Where can we find you and your work?
Me and my work.
Yes. Like online, like where, you know.
I know. You can go to. I'm like, it's on Kickstarter. Oh my God, I missed it. Bonefrogcomics.com, all one word. Bonefrogcomics.com. The site's being built. I'm on. You can every variation of my name, Mark Florio, 178, I believe is Instagram or Twitter. You can search my name on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I'm on Blue Sky, but I don't think Blue Sky likes me. So they've told me I needed to like other things and all. I was like, I don't even understand what's going on right now. But you can find me on all social media by searching my name and bonefrogcomics.com. At Metal Ninja Studios, you can find me in the Capital of Comics every week. I'm in the background on that show as well on Thursdays, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, I think that's it for now. Or at the Secret Stash, just hanging out in the back, and people walk over and go, "Who are you guys? Are you famous?" And I just
almost famous.
Right.
Hey, give me 3 months.
Yeah.
There you go. So Michael, where can we find you and your work?
I'm sorry, I dropped the ball on that one, JD. It's Michael Zapcic on all the socials: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I don't know if I have a Blue Sky account. I guess I got to, go on there and see if they like me. So probably not either.
Nice.
Very nice.
Cool, Rob.
Well, as always, you can find me at lonewolfcomics.com, at Lone Wolf Comics on Facebook, X, Instagram, Blue Sky, any basically social media, but I'm only really active on Facebook, X, and Instagram. Or you can find me personally at Rob Multari on those same three. I am in late pledges with Snowpaw Volume 1. You can still order that before it gets in from the printers, snowpaw.com or snowpaw.lonewolfcomics.com. And also, I got Volume 1 of Nightwolf coming out and Lunar. So go to your local and order that so that it hits the newsstands on August 12th.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all those different places. YouTube Sunday night with my regular crowd. Like I said, at some point I'll invite you gentlemen on if you want to come on. And just remember, everyone, please check out the show notes. In the show notes are links to these campaigns that are going on right now. These creators are impassioned creators. They're excellent creators. They need your help. They want to bring their vision to life, and they're going to give you an excellent book. So please click on those links, buy those books, and don't forget, read more indie comics, especially ours. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you.